And welcome in to another episode of Off Script, and here we go. We got a fun one today. A little Q&A session, courtesy of Scoop Duck, an Unreal forum on the On3 fan site page. So I appreciate you guys for giving me comments, likes, all that. But before we get into the video today, if you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. So I appreciate you guys. But let's get right into it. Let's get right into it here. This is courtesy, like I said, of Scoop Duck on the On3 website. Really good conversation, debates. Overall, if you are not tapped in, I encourage you to tap into that and meet with fellow fans. It's incredible. But getting into here, let's get after it. First question from Letterboard, I believe. As Oregon fans, we have little evidence to not trust Coach Lanning in virtually every aspect of his role. This is true. With that said, it seems we are proceeding with caution on the coordinator hires, especially with Maringer. I believe that's how you say it. I think it's Maringer. Especially Maringer, as there is not proven track record of success in the OC role. What are the thoughts or rumblings outside of Eugene as it relates to each candidate and the decision Dan made to hire internally? This is a good question. This is a pretty good question. And here's my take on this. Initially, the big umbrella here is I trust Dan Lanning. That's just the fact. Now, do I know crazy amount about both these candidates? Do I know about Chris Hampton and Drew Maringer? Not really. I'm be honest with you. I did a little research, and I know Hampton came from Tulane and was successful there. And Maringer was at Texas for a little bit, Ohio State as a GA, so he comes from success. And then I think he was the youngest one of the youngest OCs ever at Rutgers in 2016. So he's been in the role for a while. He knows each position. But I think at the end of the day, do you trust Dan Lanning in general? Yes, absolutely I do. I've seen so much of what he's done already at Oregon with different pieces, players, coaches. You're like, okay, well, but he can still win. So if I'm a fan here, I'm not too concerned. Yes, these are like pretty unproven guys, but all coaches come from somewhere. These guys might have the makings of greatness in them. You don't know. I'm just saying that. But at the end of the day, and to answer the question here, I trust Dan Lanning, and that's really what it comes down to. But it's a good question nonetheless. But moving on here, this one's from Mo B. Do you have an eye on any of the middle to lower Big Ten team programs taking a leap in the next couple of years? If you had to bet on one program leaping into the top tier of the conference over the next few years, who would you take, excluding USC? So I'm going to answer the first question here. Middle to lower tier Big Ten programs kind of moving up again. The first team that kind of comes to mind here would probably be Michigan State because of the hire of Pat Fitzgerald. I thought what he was doing at Northwestern and what he was kind of conjuring up and making, I thought that had, potential to be something. But I'd also kind of throw I'd say Penn State now too, just because how easy their schedule is. And I know it's a longevity thing you wanted to know about, but I think Penn State, with the new coaching hires, with the new players coming in, I think it's a complete role reversal from where they were this past year. So do we know exactly what's it going to be like over there in Happy Valley? No, not yet. But I have faith. I have faith because they're basically Iowa State now. It's a little insane. But to answer the second question, if I had to bet on a program leaping into that top tier, that's a tough question. I'd like to say Iowa, just because they've been knocking on the door for so long, and they just can't seem to get it down. But one of these days, it just all it takes is one or two players to kind of just get it going. And they had it kind of going with Gronowski for the first 2 or 3 games at quarterback, but they just couldn't get it together. But I want to say Iowa just because of the longevity of how good their defense has been. And the saying of whole defense wins championships, well, that's true, but you need to also score points. They have the running back room. They don't really have the receivers or the quarterback. So if they can just kind of get that going, that's a pretty solid Iowa team in my opinion. Moving on here, Tommy Duck 321 said, honest questions. Who has the best uniforms in college football? And if you were playing again and could pick one active head coach to play for, who would it be and why? This is a good question. And I know the usual answer here is Oregon, obviously. And I just think there's so many different combinations Oregon does. I don't even know what their home uni is anymore. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but still, to kind of get out of that Oregon, and I know this is an Oregon video, so I could say Oregon, but I'm not going to say Oregon here, even though I do love their unis here and there. Some of them are a little hit or miss, but in general, I think the unis that I kind of gravitate towards are the simplistic ones and the ones that kind of have those vibrant colors. So the one that really comes to mind for me right now is the BYU All Blues. It's just something about it. It's very, like I said, simplistic, but it's like almost like a color rush uni, and it looks incredible. It really does. But to answer the second part of the question, if I could do it all over again and play for an active head coach, and I'm for those that don't know, I played at Ohio State under Coach Ryan Day, incredible coach. If I could do it again, probably would go back to him again because I had an incredible time, learned so much from him. But excluding Ohio State, and I'm being honest, not just because this is an Oregon video, but I would easily throw on this helmet because, it just, something about it, you look good in it, you know? It's the green, but also learning from Dan Lanning, I think, would just be incredible. And his intensity, his passion for the game, it's something you can't really find. You can't teach that. And that's something that I kind of gravitate towards is his passion, his camaraderie, how his players come together almost every single year. It's incredible to watch. So my answer there would probably be Dan Lanning. Next question here. Ida Duck 94 said, "Can I pet your dad's dog?" Yeah, absolutely you can. Not sure when that would happen, but if you ever go to Eugene, rip me a message or something like that, and we try to make that happen. That's good. All right. Next question here. JDub32 said, "Given that you were a Buckeye from 21 to 24, what were your honest thoughts on the 3 times the Ducks and Buckeyes played during the time?" This is a great question because every single time we played in 21 and then 2 times in 24. 21 was my first game I ever dressed out for. It was on 9/11. Incredible. I remember to this day, but that was a tough pill to swallow just because we were just out physical that game. And then in the regular season game in 2024, that was probably one of the most fun games I was ever a part of just because it was so crazy back and forth. And now, while it didn't end the way I wanted it to, you got to call a spade and be like, all right, that was probably one of the best college football games of all time just because of the lead changes, turnovers, touchdowns. It was incredible. But to end the note of playing Oregon in the Rose Bowl and absolutely demolishing them, respectfully, guys, sorry, I don't mean to bring up some bad blood there, but I thought overall the 3 times, it was such a tough opponent, and you knew when you were going to play them, you had to deal with their speed and you had to deal with their physicality every single time. And that's again what Dan Lanning, that's what he prides himself on overall. You want to have a fast team, a team that doesn't think and just goes and just throws your hand, just shoots it. They were intimidating a little bit coming out too. You were like, oh my, good Lord, these guys are big. But yeah, I thought my thoughts overall were that team was incredibly disciplined. The team was fast, physical, and they got the best of us. We were 1 for 3 against them, but the one time it did matter, we won. So yeah, it was good. But moving on here. Next question. This question comes from Moves Like Puddles. How many more years is your dad planning to work? This is a question not exactly for me. I couldn't answer this. I could tell you this right now. He loves his job. He tells me all the time he doesn't even feel like it's work. And I feel that as well because I literally just get to talk about college football and answer you guys' questions too. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I'd say he's definitely still got a lot of years left in him, and I know he loves it so much, especially college football. So that's a question for him. I couldn't answer. I couldn't speak for him there, but we'll see. But last question here. Duck Max said, "How do you think the Big Ten shakes out next year? Will it be even better than this year?" I think, in general, the Big Ten will kind of stay true to that, being the best conference in college football, just because there is that depth. You have the Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, USC, I guess Indiana now, yes, because it'd be interesting to see Indiana, see what they can do. But I trust Coach Cignetti there. But I think Penn State's going to be on the rise. Like I said, Iowa, maybe Michigan State would be really nice to see if Michigan State can kind of I just want them in a bowl game, get them back to a bowl game, 6-7 wins. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think in general, I'd like to keep that Big Ten national championship streak alive. And, it was Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana, and then, who's up next? Who's going to take it? Is it going to be Oregon? If I'm a betting man and have seen the entire, it's 3 times in a row, 4th time's a charm, guys. Come on, let's get after it here. But I think I don't know if it will be even better this year. I know the depth overall of the Big Ten is relatively solid. It would be nice for some newer teams like Indiana kind of just came out of the woodwork, something like that to happen. But I'd say similar to maybe a little better this year, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm fairly interested to see these kind of middle tier teams like the Northwesterns, the Iowas, like I said, the Nebraskas, those kind of teams, to see if they can kind of get over the hump and do something. But it'd be interesting. But yeah, that was the last question. I appreciate all you guys for watching. Do not forget, like I said, to subscribe to the channel, like the video. We'll see you guys soon.